Hi folks, I've done this little video now to show you how I would go through the EAPI, the verbal assessment in terms of the practical video. Hopefully you've watched a bit of the practical video. I'm going to play it in the background a little bit. And I've watched it for about 10 minutes or so, and I've analysed the girl who was in the yellow top on the right hand side as we're looking at it now as the game was taking place. And I've just basically scribbled lots of notes down. You won't be able to see it, but just lots of notes down following that wasted acronym. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to time myself. So I need to be talking for around about 10 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer going. A little practice. I'm going to play a bit of the footage in the background, but just so it's there, just so you're not just having to look at my ugly mug all the time. So I'm going to start 10 minutes. I'm going to take you through it. So, what I noticed about the girl playing in the yellow, in terms, we're going to start with attributes first, their physical fitness, their physical attributes. I thought flexibility was very, very good, particularly around the hip and the knee joints. Volleyball is a sport where you've got to get low to the ground, you've got to pick the ball out of low positions, so being able to drop your body low to the ground is very, very important, and having good flexibility around the hips and the knees is essential. I thought that was very, very good in her. Agility as well was also strong. Not massively changing direction a lot, but constantly having to change the way that she's facing her opponents, facing her teammates, watching the ball, slight little movements. Very, very well balanced on her toes. It allowed her to change direction very, very quickly. And weirdly, talking about balance, all those things are linked. Her balance is excellent because her flexibility is good, because she manages to drop her body weight nice and low. She often has a nice wide leg stance, you know, so she flexes the hips, flexes the knees, so she abducts the hips, so she drops her body weight nice and low. That gives her good balance, which allows her to then have good agility, and it also, you know, and that's brought on by the good flexibility that she's got. Stamina, you know, I haven't been able to comment on stamina too much because I've only seen her for about 10 minutes, but what I can say is, from the 10 minutes that I saw her, she never really looked like she faded. She never looked like she was running out of steam. So the stamina is obviously very good. It's quite a high intense sport with, you know, you play a rally, then you have to recover very quickly, then play another rally, recover very quickly. And she seemed to be able to do that. So I'd suggest and presume that her stamina is quite strong, quite good. The power, particularly lower leg power, I think that's the thing that I might want to work on. I've got to think about working on with her. I've never really seen her jump at the front. I've never seen her do any blocks, never seen her do any attacking shots. So maybe that's not part of her game. Maybe she's not required to do that. But equally, part of my penny's going, well, you know, if she's not doing it, maybe she's being asked not to do that because she can't do it in the first place. So leg power is something I'll be looking at doing because I haven't seen her really do too many explosive actions. I've seen her dive a couple of times, which she's been very good, throwing herself down low and getting it, but equally I've seen the ball drop in front of her a few times and she's gone to move and not gone there, so that explosive power with the legs to get going forwards isn't there either. So there, you know, in terms of fitness, in terms of attributes, that's what I noticed by watching her. In terms of her skills, there are about 5 or 6 key skills in volleyball. Her digging is very, very strong. The dig is where they put 2 arms together and they lift the ball like that. She's very, very strong in terms of the dig. She digs from back court very well and gets it coming forwards. She digs at the front court very, very well. And again, that's linked to the balance. She gets her body in a nice balanced position, low position. She lifts the ball with her legs and her arms, and that allows her to get good height on the dig and allows her to set her teammates up in an attack. She's also very good at setting. Setting is the one where you catch it high and you push it upwards. So that's one that you typically do where you're setting it to a teammate who can then attack the ball and spike it. So she's very, very good at that. She doesn't do that as often, but when she has done it, she's been very, very good at it. You know, getting good height on it and getting good accuracy on it as well. Spiking, I've not seen her do any. And again, I think that's maybe linked to the leg power thing. She's not at the net doing lots of jumping and attacking. So again, that's something I'll be thinking, you know, can she do it? Technically, I can't make a comment on that really because I've not seen enough of it, but I think it's linked back to that leg power, that lack of jumping. Equally, in terms of blocking, where you're on the defensive and you jump and you put 2 hands above the net and you block, I haven't seen her do any of that either. So she's obviously not the kind of player who can get, she's not very tall, so the taller girls are doing the blocking, but equally, if she had leg power, she'd be able to get above the net herself, and you know, I'm going to keep coming back to that. But what she is very good at is the digging, as we mentioned, in and around the block, and I'm going to mention that in tactics. I'm getting slightly ahead of myself there. Serving is quite strong. She did have a bit of a bad serve, but you know, she put about 3 or 4 over that I noticed in that video clip. Again, not too much power in the serves, but it went over the net. It was good accuracy, but it didn't really put the opposition under any pressure. She didn't hit any gaps or hit it so hard that they couldn't return it. And her diving, as I mentioned, is quite good. She's done a few good dives, but there has been the times where she hasn't gone forward to get the ball. And I think, you know, again, that's coming down to that lack of power, that lack of acceleration over a couple of yards. So in terms of tactics then, I think tactically she's very, very strong defensively. She's very much a defensive player in terms of when she's at the back of the court, she gets herself in good position. She sees where the gaps are, where her opposition might want to hit the ball, and she puts herself there. And she puts herself in a good digging position, and she picks out the digs very, very well. And she never just gets it forward and just knocks it straight back over the net. She always passes to a teammate who then sets up an attack. So tactically, she's doing very, very well from back court. When she's at front court, as we've just seen a little bit there, she's very good at getting around those that are spiking. Like I said, she doesn't do any spiking herself, but she gets around those that are spiking, and she is looking for that rebound. She's hoping that teammates can spike it over, but half her brain is going, if this gets blocked, I need to be able to pick it up, and she gets herself into those positions very, very well. Equally, when she's defending and she's at the front court and her taller teammates are going up to block, again, she's in and around the block. What if it hits my teammate's hand and drops on our side of the net? I need to be able to pick it up. So tactically, she's very, very strong at the back court and at the front court. I mentioned, she's positioning behind the blocker, and I mentioned about the back court as well, picking up the balls and always trying to get, you know, like I said, never just getting it straight over the net, always trying to get it to a teammate. So that's in terms of the attributes, the skills and the tactics. The overall effectiveness then, I think she's an excellent defensive player. And I think the aspects, you know, in terms, you know, she's always there picking up the loose ball. She's always there often receiving the first hit over from the opposition and knocking it back to one of her teammates. But I reckon attacking, I haven't seen her do hardly any attacking at all. So I think that's an area, maybe she's not been asked to do that by a coach, as I mentioned that before. Maybe that is her role in the team. But, you know, I've not seen her really attack. So I think she's an excellent defensive player, but attacking player, she's not really shown me any attacking skills that I've seen her being able to comment on, such as spiking, things like that. So, of what I've seen, what do I think is the biggest area for improvement, the biggest weakness I want to work on? It would be leg power, because I think she's not the tallest, and in terms of that spiking and that blocking, you know, you've heard me say plenty of times she's more defensive, so why does she need to spike and block? Well, do you know what, when you're playing a sport, there's going to be times in games where you need to do a bit of everything. If you're a defender, you're going to have to attack sometimes. If you're an attacker, you're going to have to defend sometimes. So I think it's a part of the game that's lacking and something that I'd look to improve on. So what can I do in terms of leg power? Well, this is going to be some kind of, you know, physical training. So, in order to do that, I've got 3 or 4 weeks to make an improvement. I've got to follow the principles of training. So I've got to go follow the sport principles: specificity, progression, overload, reversibility and tedium. But first things first, I need to measure her leg power, see where it is, so I can see if I've made an improvement. So the classic way I do this with her is I do the vertical jump test, because it's very, very specific to her sport. It's about jumping upwards. So I'd get the vertical jump test, I'd get her in a sports hall, I'd make a mark on the wall, I'd get her to reach up and mark the furthest point she can reach. I'd then put chalk on her hands, and I'd then get her to do a double leg takeoff, jump and slap the wall, and I'd measure the distance between the 2 marks, and that would give me an indication of her power. So there's my starting point. In terms of the training then, like I said, I've got to make it specific, so I'm going to be doing lots of leg-based exercises. I will be thinking something like jump squats with some weights. So I'll get her to do a 1 rep max, find the 1 rep max for the squat, the weight she can lift once and once only, and then I'd calculate about 75% of that weight. And then what I'd get to do is I'd get her to do some jump squats with that weight on her back, so she's actually leaving the ground a little bit. With the weight being 75% of her 1 rep max, it's a little bit lighter, so she will be able to jump. So she's getting the speed in there, and as you know, power is speed times strength. So I'd get her to do that, and I'd be looking at getting to do 3 sets of 12 reps for a power-based training program. 3 to 5 sets, maybe in the first week just getting her doing 3 sets. I can then progress to 4 and 5 sets during weeks 2, 3 and 4, and I'd be looking at 2 to 3 minutes recovery in between each set. But again, that's something I could progress. I could get her doing 3 minutes recovery to start with, then as she gets fitter, shorten it to 2 minutes recovery. So there's lots of different ways I can progress this training. Within that same session, I'd also include some plyometrics training, very, very specific to explosive power, and I get to do things like bunny hops, 3 lots of 12 bunny hops, so she's jumping as far as she can, 2-legged takeoff, things like that. I get to do box jumps where she jumps on and off a bench, getting maximum vertical height, and again I'd be doing 3 times 12 jumps on each of these. I'd be getting her to do 3 to 5 sets, and I'd be giving her 2 to 3 minutes recovery in between each one, and I'd put those into the same session, so the session would last 30-40 minutes. So I'd be expecting her frequency, intensity, time and type. Frequency, I'd expect to do this session twice a week. Intensity, it's going to be maximal because it's power development. Time, you know, we've mentioned the reps and the sets, but you know the session should last about 30 minutes. And the type is explosive, it's resistance and it's plyometrics. So I'm getting all that in there. What would I hopefully expect at the end of 3 or 4 weeks of that? Well, adaptations. I expect her to have slightly more type 2B muscle fibres, or a type 2B muscle fibres that she's already got to be hypertrophied, so I've got bigger, thicker, stronger. Remember, type 2B fibres are your fast, explosive muscle fibre types. I'd also expect her to make better use of the all or none law and motor unit recruitment, so that we've mentioned the all or none law. You've got to send an impulse that's big enough, you've got to release enough neurotransmitter to get the impulse into the muscle fibre to create the contraction. I think through this training she will train her brain and her neuromuscular system to do that, release more neurotransmitter, recruit more muscle fibres, generate more power. And having done that, alongside that I may also do something like protein supplementation in her diet, you know, use of protein supplements to increase the rate of muscle growth and repair. And I may also give her some creatine supplements. Creatine, remember, is that supplement that increases the amount of that anaerobic fuel source, that very short-term explosive fuel source you have in your muscles. And following 3 or 4 weeks of that, I'd be expecting to see an increase in her vertical jump of about 2 to 3 centimetres. Nothing more than that in 3 or 4 weeks, really. But equally, I'd expect at least a couple of centimetres improvement, because I'd want to see that the training has had an impact, has an effect. And if she does that, I'd expect to be able to jump higher, block more, spike more, dive forwards for these balls that have been falling onto the court. Right, I've waffled on for 11 minutes and 17 seconds, so I'd have gone over. No doubt the moderator would have hurried me up during certain parts. But what I've done there is I've just literally gone through what I've seen and noted on that girl. Little tips that I did do before I even watched the video. I just wrote all the attributes down. Before even seeing it, I wrote flexibility, agility, balance, power, stamina, because I know that you need that in volleyball. In terms of the skills, I wrote them down and I just made little comments on each one. So you want to be watching the video a lot, so get a lot of the paperwork done early. In terms of tactics, I know what the main tactics are: defending, attacking in this sport. So what should I expect from a defensive player? What should I expect from an attacking, and what we should like? And then your overall effectiveness is a general summary of all of that. The one thing that I noticed was that lack of power in her legs, or, you know, maybe not seen enough of it. And so that's the route I went down in terms of the fitness training, and I just came up with 2 or 3 exercises, a couple of adaptations, and a way of testing it. And if you do that, you're soon going to eat up the time, and you're soon going to show the examiner exactly what you know, and you're going to pick up lots and lots of marks. Practice, practice, practice. Watch some videos, watch some professionals, jot a few notes down, and then use those notes. Don't be afraid to look down and tell the moderator, tell the examiner, tell your teacher what you've seen, what you've noticed in that footage that you've seen. Good luck with it, you'll be absolutely fine.